WTF! WTF!
In the bleak midwinter. Rose crap. Yes, there I was thinking after last week's horrible episode, WWE would pull out all the stops to make sure that this week's episode made us forget about last week's episode, but did it bollocks. I'm Ross from Cultaholic.com. You are a sexual wank pheasant, and welcome to all the WTF moments from what was another piss poor episode of WWE Raw. Oh, that sign there reads, "Where are you, Roman Reigns?" And judging by the handwriting, that sign there was made by an adult, and that adult should know where Roman Reigns is. Why is that adult asking where the big dog is? Wait there. The opening segment to a Raw had JoJo saying the following contest is a women's division tag team match scheduled for one fall. You're sitting there telling me there was an actual wrestling match to open last night's WWE Raw? I feel like I was a bastard fetus the last time that happened. No 20-minute Lady Balls / Big Baldy Bastard Baron Corbin monologue to open the show. I just don't know what's come over me. I'm feeling all Jack White now because I just don't know what to do with myself. I'm too proud of that line. Raw! A wrestling show, starting with a wrestling match instead of a speech. Fuck.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan have a table in their possession, Corey Graves says. I'm not sure what all that's about, Corey Graves says. Come on, man, Corey, we're 2 weeks away from the next gimmick pay-per-view in WWE's calendar, and because WWE think us fans put our shoes on the wrong feet every single bastard day in the weeks leading up to one of these pay-per-views, they need to spell out how these gimmicks work. Weeks before a Battle Royal / Royal Rumble, we need to see people go over the top rope, just in case we've forgotten what it's like to see people go over a top rope. And now, because we're weeks away from TLC, we got to see how a table works, because us as wrestling fans, we've never seen a table in a wrestling match before, have we? Now it's time for a dramatic reenactment of what Natalya did when she was selling her arm after being put through a table by the Riott Squad. Play that pissing buzzard, Richard Tubman, because for Christ's sake, I'm an angry man. That's right, everybody. Due to the overwhelming success of that Q&A segment involving Sasha Banks and Bayley, WWE did it once again, because you know, you can never give the fans enough of what they never ever want. I've worked it out, everybody. They're just trying to piss us off on purpose now, and last night's show got off to a good start as well, and now came this. Awful. Maggle, 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 maggle. Now, according to Maggle Cole, during last week's Q&A segment, Sasha Banks and Bayley answered tough questions from the WWE Universe. Now, if you cast your minds all the way back to last week's segment, you would have seen one fan asking one question, which was, Sasha and Bayley, if you could change one thing in the women's division, what would it be? Oh, Michael, that's as tough as a fluffy pillow or a newborn kitten. Tough my arse, pal. Everybody, meet Clay. Clay had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ask Sasha Banks and Bayley one question live on WWE Raw in front of the entire world. I really hope Clay doesn't make a tit of himself live on WWE Raw in front of the entire world. Well, whoopsie, Clay, because in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, you asked Sasha Banks and Bayley if they had one superpower, what would it be? If you asked me the same question, pal, I would make segments like this, die 1,000 deaths so we'd never have to see them ever again. I push my fingers into my eyes. I didn't want to resort to that now, everybody, but needs must. Now, as we all saw last week, Dana Brooke turned heel for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. On Saturday night at Starrcade, she was teaming with Sasha Banks and Bayley. Then on Raw, she was beating them up. And this week, Dana rocked up once again to attack her former tag team partners before Alexa Bliss was like, whoa, pal, stop there. We're going to have a tag team match, but not involving you, Dana, but you can stay out here if you fancy. You know, like the lassie who would never get invited to the sleepover, but would turn up anyway, and you can't say go away because it's too harsh. Getting flashbacks now, you never got invited anywhere. So then, not only do we not know why Dana Brooke turned heel, but she's also pledging allegiance to a woman who clearly doesn't give a crap about her. Much like us fans, I guess, but still, this would have been a great opportunity for Dana Brooke to go, whoa, biatch, who you talking to like that before forgetting the last 2 weeks ever happened. Dun, 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 dun. It's Morgan Wallen, not Morgan Waller, Kevin. Now, of course, I've got my sources backstage at WWE in very low places, so I know why this happened. Essentially, Kevin Dunn is a massive Rick Waller fan and doesn't want the magic to die. And if you're sitting there thinking, who the hell's Rick Waller? Have you even lived? First of all, if A. Camel Rezar is trying to be incognito there, it's not quite working, is it? They must have attended the School of Disguises, run by Enzo Amore. And second of all, that fella's reaction to the Lucha House Party appearing is absolutely bang on the money. You know the feeling, you've seen an old woman fall down, you've seen a child hurt themselves, you're just stood there, don't know what to do, going, oh, oh, oh. That's what you should be doing when the Lucha House Party appear. Look at that sign there and ask yourself the following question. Does Howard Mai actually have any input into the booking of New Japan Pro Wrestling? We just don't know, do we? And I've got to be honest, I nicked this from Reddit. It had 88 upvotes, which means it must be true and worthy of a spot in this WTF Moments video, alright? Here we go again, everybody. Why the pissing hell aren't those Lucha things heels? Out they come, the 3L Hijo del Diddlers for a singles match against Scott Dawson at a Revival. Now, out of nowhere, JoJo's going, whoa! Lucha House Party rules, everybody. It's now a 3-on-1 handicap match. That's not fair. I just don't get it. The Lucha House things, biggest dicks ever, aren't they? Oh no, everybody, I thought they were doing it again. Cast your minds back to 2016, the Colonel McSweaty Bollocks, who, of course, is the best professional wrestler in the world, isn't he? Versus Undertaker feud with that lockbox, which was integral to the story, but we never found out what was inside that lockbox. And last night on Raw, they threatened to do that again. But hey, at least big bully bastard Baron Corbin looked like and sounded like Patrick Starr, and Patrick Starr's the best, so that's alright by me. But we then actually found out what was inside a WWE lockbox, when judging against previous standards, has to be a WTF moment. Big bully bastard Baron Corbin gave Drew McIntyre a gold medal because Kurt Angle no longer counts as a real wrestler or a human being or something. And by doing this, big bully bastard Baron Corbin essentially gave Drew McIntyre a gold star for doing some good work, like he's still at school. Hey Drew, that's a nice essay on Sesame Street. Sesame Street? Sesame Street, here's a gold star for you. What a good boy. And what's worse, Drew actually liked it instead of looking at the thing like a condescending piece of crap that it actually is. Drew McIntyre, still a child at school. Here we go, everybody. 7 months ago, when Drew McIntyre arrived on the main roster in WWE, he saw a complacent roster, playing on their phones and playing video games. And whoever wrote that line for Drew McIntyre needs taken out the back, shot in the head and turned into glue, because first of all, they're a horse, and second of all, they missed Drew McIntyre's appearance on Up Up Down Down over the weekend, which you haven't heard is one of the biggest gaming channels on YouTube today. You literally could not have picked a worse time for Drew McIntyre to say that line, but they did, because WWE, as a human body, doesn't quite work. Our human body, when we walk, the right foot goes forward, the left foot goes forward, the right foot goes forward, the left foot goes forward. But WWE's human body, the right foot goes forward, the left foot stays still, the right foot goes forward, the left foot stays still, the right foot goes forward, 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 and we go round in pissing circles. Essentially, everybody, one leg does not know what the other leg is going to do, because they're not connected. We can pick apart this bollocks at ease. WWE, just be more aware of what's going on, please, for God's sake, will you? And 1 week removed from what people are calling the single worst episode of WWE Raw ever, surely that stupid creative team wouldn't have Drew McIntyre say he's reimagining Raw in his image. What an awful image that is. But they did, didn't they? Because they're numpties and they don't know what's going on in the world around them. Just WWE creative team, for God's sake, look around. You're walking into these stupid mistakes and they're so avoidable. Dolph Ziggler, build at 6 feet tall. He's taller than me, he's taller than Jack the Jobber, he's taller than Sam Driver, and he's just a little bit shorter than Dean Ambrose, who was billed at 6'3". Still gets the piss taken out of him for being too small though.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Ziggler versus McIntyre, a match I never thought I'd see, Corey Graves says. Luckily for you, Corey Graves, the WWE Network is a thing, and episodes of SmackDown Not So Live are on there. Go back to 2013, July the 2nd, McIntyre versus Ziggler, and Ziggler wins. So now according to Renee Young, Dolph Ziggler is a former WWE champion. He's not, he's a former 2-time World Heavyweight champion. 2 different belts, 2 different things. You are this close, Renee, to getting your own thing in these WTF Moments videos, and you know what I mean by thing, don't you? So according to Maggle Cole, last night's Raw was the first time Drew McIntyre has been pinned or submitted since he returned to WWE. Come on, Maggle, for Christ's sake. Well, Maggle, I guess you're going to sit there and say that NXT is not part of WWE now, are you? Well, I'm going to tell you, you can't. If Xavier Woods can sit there calling us fans entitled idiots for crapping on the main roster product while loving NXT, you cannot spread bollocks like that. And as Richard behind the camera just pointed out, WWE made a big hoo-ha about Asuka's undefeated streak stretching all the way from NXT through the main roster and to WrestleMania this year. And if they're going to do it for her, they've got to do it for Drew, don't they? Bloody hell, Elias. No wonder you couldn't find Bobby Lashley at Raw yesterday, because he's a very small man. Google Dennis Wise and Ant if you don't get that one. Because he's a very small man. I tell you what, it looks like Elias's guitar is a bit of a fret to Elias's scarf there, because it's all tangled and ripped and whatnot.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
So according to Corey Graves, Elias's music is so bad, so Paul McCartney wants to join the rest of the Beatles. Ringo's not dead, Corey. Just because you don't hear that lovely deep voice. That's the worst impression I've ever done. On the new crappy animated version of Thomas the Tank, that doesn't mean he's dead, Corey. He's alive and well. Bobby Lashley is a dog or a cheetah. Somehow, someway, while being on his arse while scooting along the floor like a dog with an itchy anus, Bobby Lashley was able to run away from Elias and stop himself being clocked upside the head with a guitar. And I don't know about you, but I don't think Sir David Attenborough himself could explain how Bobby Lashley got away from Elias there. Whoa, Renee Young. First of all, you don't talk to your husband. Second of all, you know what Jinder Mahal does behind closed doors in his hotel room. And now, when Corey Graves asks why do women love guitar-wielding maniacs, you go, hell yeah, I love it. That's right, you're Vince McMahon, but you're also raising a lot of questions indeed. Renee. And now it's time for another example of WWE thinking us fans forget things we've seen time and time again 5 minutes after they've bloody happened. So Bobby Roode appeared on Raw this week without a robe because on last week's Raw, Drake Maverick put Bobby Roode's robe in a toilet and flushed it. Hardy, 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 ha. Now for every single time my pal Jake Hager goes, I'm going to make the reason why this is a stupid WTF moment appear in the box up there. Bobby Roode owns more than one robe. So when the Lucha House Party get to make their singles match as a handicap match from absolutely nowhere, change the rules just when they want to, Renee Young and Michael Cole are like, whoa! Isn't this so fun to watch? But when big bully bastard Baron Corbin makes a singles match into a handicap match, Renee Young and Michael Cole are like, oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Corporate corruption. It's the end of Marley and me. They're the same pissing thing, aren't they? Why aren't El Hijo del Diddler's heels? Tell me that now. Bane Ambrose arrived, and then Bane Ambrose took the thing that makes him Bane Ambrose off his face. It made Bane Ambrose absolutely pointless. If Bane Ambrose didn't need that thing, why did he wear that thing in the first place? Why did we get a big entrance? Why did he have security guards? Piss. Attitude Era WWE. Life sucks, and then you die. Current day WWE. Life sucks, and then you always don't get what you want. And next up we have Dean Ambrose saying he's proud to stand the ring as the moral compass of WWE. He is a good heel, isn't he? It's just making sense. Run away. The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh. So finally, Corey Graves pushed one too many buttons when it comes to Renee Young. He says, Renee, are you going to treat the fans like mugs? We know what's going on. What the hell's the crap with Dean Ambrose? And finally, Renee Young says something that makes a little bit of sense when she says, nobody has the right to know what's going on behind closed doors between a husband and wife. Does this make her sound like a bit of a dick? I guess it does, against a babyface commentator role, but at least it makes sense. They should have had her saying this from the start. But then again, it makes no sense whatsoever, because Dean and Renee, they appeared on Total Divas, didn't they? A show that takes you behind closed doors and shows you what happens between husband and wife. Whenever Dean Ambrose appears on WWE TV from now on, Renee Young has to be escorted from the premises because her commentating on top of Dean Ambrose just doesn't work as long as she's a babyface commentator. How do you solve this? You have 1 extra hour of Byron Piss and Saxton in your life every single week. You move him to Raw, move Renee to SmackDown, keep Dean on Raw, and your problems are gone. Not the one. In every great battle in history, there's been a loser according to Corey Graves. Not in Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, there wasn't. Although there was, because it was Deontay Wilder, wasn't it? So I guess Corey was right there. Sorry for wasting your time. There was botches in the women's tag match at the end of the show. These mistakes happen, so let's not make a big deal about them, shall we? Let's move on to a lovely part of the show called this.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Hello everybody and welcome to Wankety Wank. You know how it works by now. Thank you very much to Brad McNeil for doing some math, and the numbers don't lie, WWE, although they might, because I don't know if Brad is good at maths or not. And that's it for the WTF moments from this week's Raw. I've been Ross from Cultaholic.com. I'm not drunk, I swear. Thank you for being a sexual wank faisan once again. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @RossOnWrestling. Pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. I love you. But most importantly of all, subscribe to this illustrious YouTube channel and follow us everywhere on the medias of the social.